New Thought Media Network proudly presents the High Vibe Hour. The High Vibe Hour, 60 minutes of connections, insights, and conversations to raise your vibe. Join Rev Julie and Rev Skip each week for an exploration of living a high vibe life. Tune in live every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time or anytime during the week on our YouTube channel. The High Vibe Hour, only on New Thought Media Network.
Hey.
Hey, welcome. welcome to another episode of the High Vibe Hour here at the New Thought Media Network. I'm Reverend Skip Jennings, and I am a teacher, a minister, an author, and a retreat facilitator. And happy Black History Month.
Yes, you are a facilitator with Bali coming up.
Yeah.
I am Reverend Julie Moret. I am a inspirational speaker and a spiritual teacher at the Agape International Spiritual Center, founded and directed by Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. And you know what I just realized? I used to never say I was a spiritual teacher because I thought that was like, you know, who calls themselves a spiritual teacher? And I realized I feel very congruent saying that now. Like I have done enough cultivation that I really feel I have something of substance to offer. So that's like, I just tracked some growth there.
I love that. And that is what we're actually talking about today. It's being authentically able to really speak our truth of who we are. We are spiritual teachers. We are spiritual leaders. We're authors. One of the things that I love about what you just said, it gives me I want to say credibility with myself and authenticity with myself to say that, because I would always repeat what everyone else was saying. Like, well, Reverend Michael says this or Ernest Holmes says this, but what do I say? Yes. And that's why I love being in this growth with you, because we are spiritual leaders, we are authors, we are teachers, and we are here to help people and make a difference. So, hey, welcome to this hour. This fun-packed hour. I'm gonna tell you what this week has been like for me. It's been incredible.
Should I brace myself? Do I need to hold on?
I don't think so, because we've been moving forward to this last few weeks. I've been talking about epidurals and my back, and I had the epidurals on Tuesday. It was a wonderful experience of meditation. Let me just put it that way. But this morning I'm waking up, and this is the first morning I'm waking up without actually reaching for ibuprofen or pain med or no. I'm like not literally pain free, but it's very minimal. This is the first time in a year I have not felt this immersed pain in the morning of waking up. And the pain for me is the energy of God saying, do something different. But it's been a wonderful experience waking up this morning. And the other thing this week that I'm so excited about, Bridgerton's back. I am a fan. I love Bridgerton. And because
Cinderella something in there.
You know, because it's like, I love what Shonda Rhimes has done, is taken this very historically white energy and has brought so many authenticity of uniqueness, of Black, of Asian, of white, of everyone gathering into this story, this incredible story, which is, wow, what a celebration. So I am a Bridgerton head. I love it. I've seen each series or each season multiple times. And this new one, I'm really digging it. I wasn't sure if I was or not. And I was like, but I loved it. I streamed it yesterday on my rest day. Watched all the episodes. It's so good. It's so good. I'm going back in again probably on Saturday to watch it again. It's really, really good. Anyway, shout out to Shonda Rhimes and Shondaland Media. Oh my God. So I'm happy.
That's cool. You know what I really appreciate? Like, we're talking about authenticity, and most, a lot of times in a spiritual community, we don't talk about when we're not feeling well or when there's physical stuff going on, because, there's like this perception, if you're really spiritual, you won't have physical issues. And who was it? I think it was Gabby Bernstein in one of her books, right at the end, she said that, like, she's all about the spiritual path, and sometimes medical intervention is really important. And when
So,
she said that, it made such a big difference out in the world.
yeah,
So,
I
to say
think that on
I'm a
Wednesday,
both and kind of person. Like I
I'm a both
think
and
like
too.
still be pursuing all the spiritual aspects, but I'm so glad you're feeling good in your
Well,
body.
and we teach that God is in everything and everything is in God. God is in the medicine. There is God in the Western medicine and the East. I do it all. I
Mhm.
do Western, Eastern, give me some healing, give me some Reiki. And yes, yet there is something that can release the pain for right now or the energy around it.
Mhm.
I'm an and person. And
Good.
what I do love about this conversation, being authentically present with your body to
Mhm.
say, this works for me, this does not work for me. Like my doctor said, well, I guess your running days are over. I said, I guess they are. I don't have to run sprints anymore. I don't have to run a marathon. I don't have to do, but I do get to practice what really brings me joy, like yoga or
Mhm.
walking or qigong or spinning. I love spinning. I'm still going to teach my spinning classes. So I get to authentically say, this is me now. It's not me that was 100
Yeah.
years ago or 50 years ago or 10 years ago. This is me today authentically.
Yeah, I think that's such a great question to be,
Yeah.
reflective, self-reflective periodically and say, what is my body like now? What
Mhm.
feels yummy and great now in my body? And really to honor that, because that's a powerful thing to say right there. So
Sure is.
appreciating that.
I
Um,
appreciate you too. What's your week been like, sis?
So I was, there's this group of women that, like, I'm a part of a women's group, which feels so funny to me to say because I'm like a loner. I'm like out there by myself most of the time.
Right.
And so the fact that I'm like part of a women's group, it amuses me to no end. And we get together, like we're in touch all the time on WhatsApp, and we get together a couple times a year. And it is like a week of the deepest, most intense, most beautiful
Mm.
therapy ever. Like we really, process stuff. And it also amuses me because the only basis I had for like women's retreats or whatever, like the housewives, like when they go on vacation. So
You
I
said
remember the
that
first
last week.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what to expect, but this is like the most evolved group of women. There's
Oh,
no cattiness, there's no bitchiness, there is zero
I
gossip.
love it.
And we're just there to really cultivate our consciousness and grow. And so I just got back. I'm feeling like kind of raw, a little vulnerable, like
Mm.
just very being like really soft with myself today. Like I
Oh my
just
goodness.
did a lot of like deep inner work. So I want to play right now.
Yeah, well, we can play right now. And what I love about what you said, there is so much cattiness. And okay, I'm gonna give you this is
Mhm.
a guilty pleasure. I can share it with you, guilty pleasure, and no one else is listening in the world. So it's just me and you. I have
Right.
a guilty
Okay.
pleasure. I love one reality show that I really love, and it's so not in tune with me, but it is a part of me that I see it as entertaining. The Traders. Okay. Now it's a it's a
How do I not know
really
about it?
okay. I know The Traders is this reality show where you have it's like Clue. The Clue. You got to find out who killed
Mhm.
the. That's what it's kind of reminds me of, and it brings me back to in these games of when you put on these kind of I want to say you put on this costume or you put on this image, and maybe you're the doctor or maybe you're the lawyer or maybe you're this, and there's a traitor amongst you they're killing people off, not literally, but it's just and I find it so interesting to see how people are interacting and moving around, and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I just is one of the my fun reality show, the only one that I watch, and they're housewives. The reason I bring it up, there are housewives on this
Oh,
show, and the
funny.
housewives, man, do not cross a housewife. I'm like, oh my goodness, wow, wow. So
That
that's
is
my
so
guilty
funny.
pleasure. That's my guilty pleasure. I shared it with the world, shared it with
I love
you.
it. Okay, I want to do tea time
Yeah.
because I know
Okay.
we
Good
talk
time.
all the time about what we're doing. And
Yeah.
to me today, this really relates to the subject of authenticity um, how to be authentically ourselves. Because I think one of the most important components in being your authentic self is being really well balanced, so you know what you really feel. Because sometimes, I can have some voices in there and it's a reactive voice, or it's not like the true voice. So I'm doing a lot of mushrooms today. This is what I got. It's Laird's performance mushrooms. It's really smooth. I like this blend a lot, and it has chaga, which is chaga and maitake. Yeah. And that's really good for the immune system. But then lion's mane is a good mood balancer. And that feels really nice for me today. And cordyceps, which is endurance and smooth energy. And so I'm just really mindful that, in this world with so many different things going on, like step number one is taking care of ourselves so that we can be clear enough to take effective actions.
And today I'm into the black tea again. I tell you why, and there's a reason why, because black tea is probably the highest in energetically giving you the lift. It's black tea and green tea. So I'm doing this little bit of it's a little round ball that comes into this really impact tea, and it's really black, and it's from China, and you drop it into water and it expands. I don't have it in front of me. It's in the kitchen. I'll run back to get it. Maybe on the break, I'll bring it out. But it expands to this incredible dark. It almost looks like coffee. And I felt a little bit of a lift. I needed a little bit of a lift today because I've been laying on my back for the last few days, because that's where you heal. And it's been very interesting finding that time to rest and to relax and to breathe. I don't really like stopping and resting. It's like I had the hardest time sitting there. So then finally getting up today, I'm feeling so good, but I'm also feeling like I just want to go back to bed. So, so that's why I got the black tea. I'm going, okay, no, I got to show yourself up. I got a podcast with Reverend Julie. I got to so I got a little bit of black tea today to get me going.
Okay. Is black tea as smooth as green tea is? Do you feel more of a bump with black tea?
I feel more of the yang experience of tea, because I believe everything has a yin and a yang. The yang is doing the yin. And the yin is more of the becoming, the releasing, allowing. Because when you're in that yin state, I teach yin yoga. I'll teach tomorrow. I'm teaching people to be still and allow this energy to move through you. That's what green tea does to me, and jasmine tea. It keeps you in a place of more becoming. This is more of a yang. Oh, I have something to do.
Got it.
I'm not going to drink coffee. I'm going to jump into some brown tea or some dark black tea to get moving, to go. So it's more of the yang experience versus the yin experience.
Sweet. And that's probably why I've been drawn towards really soft and smooth tea today, because I had such an activating last week that I'm just feeling like soft, and so that makes a lot of sense to me.
Makes a lot of sense.
What are we talking about today?
Well, we're talking about being authentic, and I'm very excited that we're kicking off this episode with the acknowledgement of Black History Month.
Yes.
And Black History Month is very, very important. We joke, and I remember my mother used to say, they gave Black History the shortest month of the year, and it's not that. The reason why Black History Month is in February, because it's Frederick Douglass's birthday, and it's also Abraham Lincoln's birthday. So dropping into the reason why we represent and we remember the achievements of those from the African diaspora and African Americans and people all over the world. What I want to say about this before I really acknowledge some people that are on my list, I want to acknowledge that this is not just Black history. This is everyone's history that is focusing on the way the universe shows up uniquely as people of color. it's like, then I think next month is Women's History Month. It's so important that we need to acknowledge Women in History Month. We need to acknowledge our LGBTQA month. We need to acknowledge our Hispanic Heritage Month, because of the fact that traditionally we've been marginalized. This is the time where we get to raise the vibration around this energy of marginalization. Am I making myself clear here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a reason why we do this. It's not to show that anyone's higher than anyone. It's absolutely us meeting and celebrating each other. One of the greatest places that we know that does that so naturally has been Agape. Agape is the only spiritual community that I've ever gone to, and I've been a part of it for a long time now, almost 25 years. And I have, no, actually about 20 years, but the only place that I've ever gone to where I saw people from all walks of life getting together, singing, dancing, laughing, crying as a community. Back in Buckingham days, man, we would have Muslims sitting next to Israelites. We have people from Israel. We have people, Black people, white people, gay, straight. It was like, oh, this is what inclusivity really looks like.
Yeah, still is. Yeah.
It still is. And so what I want to shout out is that we are calling forth a remembrance of these incredible achievements. Just a few, I'm not going to, so many. There's over 1,000 different things that came out of the movement of the African diaspora that we use today. But we celebrate the lights of Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, which delivered an incredible speech called Ain't I a Woman, which helped the women's movement. Frederick Douglass, of course, helped education. Madam C.J. Walker, the first Black female millionaire. We have Jackie Robinson, Thurgood Marshall, Rosa Parks. Althea Gibson was the first Black woman to actually win a Grand Slam in tennis. Wilma Rudolph, first Black woman to win 3 Olympic gold medals, and the Olympics are starting off today. We have Malcolm X. Bynard Rustin, we have to remember, Bynard Rustin was openly gay, openly queer. He was the person who actually organized the March on Washington, which changed the nation. Fannie Hamer, we have Aretha Franklin, of course, Barack Obama. I got to give him the props. First Black president, and won't be the last, I truly believe. But I want to go into our New Thought people. We got to remember people like Johnny Coleman, Barbara King, Reverend Ike, Mary Tumpkin. We have to remember, shout out Michael Beckwith, because of the fact that this movement, out of our traditionally what I would say non-Black movement or non-people of color movement, became this movement of inclusivity of everyone. So he changed in this history of New Thought, 40 years now strong. He's a part of the history. Yes. I want to acknowledge that this is a time that we get to remember, and we also get to know that we're still going through a lot of marginalization. We're still going through a lot of people who don't want equality for all, and we have to see this as we are a very important part, all of us, to the growth of this experience of we call life.
Beautiful. So what for Black History Month, I mentioned this to you right before we started. Yeah. I'm curious to know, like, what is the role do you think of white people? Because as I shared with you, there was one Juneteenth where within an hour, I had one African-American friend tell me, you know, white people need to just be quiet today, like don't pipe in and, you know, be celebratory. And then I had another African-American friend say that we should be, you know, posting about it and sharing about Juneteenth. And so as a white person, sometimes it's confusing when to speak up, when not to speak up, what to say, what not to say. And I'm remembering right now that during the pandemic, there were just a couple of us that were putting together the services for Agape International Spiritual Center. And I was asked to head up Black History Month. And I did a great job. Like I got beautiful quotes and beautiful people involved, but there were still people that felt it shouldn't have been me. And like there was just a couple of us putting the whole service together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to know, like, what are your thoughts about that?
I love this. This is a real rich, deep conversation. I believe that, you know, people of color and non-people of color need to come together. I believe this is the conversation we need to have with people in our LGBTQA community, coming together with our allies, or even those who are not allies. This is the deep conversation that brings us together. Here's what I truly believe. I truly believe that everyone has the right to celebrate any celebration that comes forth from their heart. And the intention is so important. What's your intention for celebrating Juneteenth? As a person of the non-person of color or white person, what is your intention? Is it to bring light to this movement of recognizing that Black people are still not completely free, although we claim to be free? There is a movement against freedom for Black people or people of color. What is your intention? Why do you want to share? And the other thing too is, I truly believe I celebrate women every day. Women's history is so dope. I'm not a woman. I don't identify as a woman, but I can celebrate it. I can celebrate. I can celebrate all the different festivals that are happening right now. Like I love Seder dinner. I love Passover. I've gone to so many Passover dinners and celebrate Passover. I ain't Jewish, but I can get down. I can get down with some matzah soup. I can get you know. So it's like, but my intention is to celebrate and to understand. I want to understand your culture. So I don't think as it's something that's outside of me, but I won't ever be able to fully understand it until I drop in and break bread and celebrate. So I'm all for it. Come on, sis. The one thing that I think we want to really, and I'll throw it over to you in a moment. The only one thing I'm going to say, understand when we are in a place of cultural appropriation, when we are taking that part of, and some of us have taken, like, say, an African statue or an African mask, and you have in your house, and you don't understand what that really stands for. The reason why we have African masks is to protect our inner spirit. We wear the mask so who's ever wanting to attack us cannot see our true face. This is God protecting us. There's a reason why we have African masks. There's a reason why we have African statues. If you're not taking time to understand what you're putting into your house, I believe that has a deeper conversation you got to have with yourself. So, we can have a whole
And I also feel like there's a place for layering in like some spaciousness and some kindness with each other, because you know, we all don't know what we don't know. And I think that goes in every direction, you know, because I think that in this, you know, especially cancel culture, that it's easy to just cross people off. But I think maybe asking some questions like, what is your intention with this? Or, you know, just to go deeper with some things is pretty helpful.
Hey, question. I got a question for you.
Sure.
As a person, as a white woman, watching what happened during the pandemic, and that really comes to mind, watching George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, you know, things that happened that was so horrific, and things are happening now. As a person in watching this, what was your feeling for people of color? Because I believe the backlash of what's coming out of anger from people of color, Black people, we were angry. There was a lot of anger that was happening here. So when people would say, oh, you need to sit down and be quiet, you can't celebrate Juneteenth, that I believe was a reactionary experience instead of wanting to interact. I think that is still the traumatic healing that needs to go on. The healing of the traumatic experience of separation. How did all this feel for you?
Kind of caused me to go on a deeper dive. You know, I read Caste and just started, I felt like I was pretty well educated. But I definitely took it to a whole other level. I'm somebody that I won't watch like a horror movie or a scary movie, but if it's the truth, I'll watch it dead
Wow.
on, eyes wide open. And so I remember when the film 12 Years a Slave was about to
Ooh.
come out, and the filmmakers invited a handful of religious leaders in Los Angeles from different communities. There were rabbis, there was ministers,
Yeah.
and I was invited to go and screen it because they were curious to see what's the response going to be like. They were very concerned about what kind of response there would be. And I forget how many hours that was, but that was a very great, big, blatant, like it showed everything, it said everything film. And I just watched it eyes wide open. I felt like it's like kind of mandatory. Like, you know, if you live through this, if you live in this society, you need to know where we've been. That's kind of my understanding. And it's my understanding in every perspective. It drives me crazy how many people will say that the Holocaust didn't exist. Like there are people that still say that the Holocaust is made up. And like smart people, like I know somebody that's quite well known in the world, and they really think that it wasn't like everything that's being said. And so that's where I go back to, can we have some spaciousness with each other? And then I know we're going to break soon, but like the next phase of this is how do we loop into being our authentic selves when we live in such an agenda driven culture, especially on social media. It's like if you post something funny and frivolous right now, then it's easy to get judged for being like clueless, you know, or out of touch with all the big things that are happening. And if you post too much, like I went down a rabbit hole the other day. I clicked on something about the marching, the rising up in Iran. And once you do that, your algorithm just feeds you over and over. And I just went down the rabbit hole, and it was so intense. I just kept sharing it. I kept sharing it and sharing it on social media because I felt like one thing I can do is keep getting the word out. And then I realized, you know, like when we come back, I want to talk about how do we keep checking in with ourselves to know, like, what's my authentic voice right now? What's my authentic action? What am I doing? You know, because there is a place for joy too. Like the frequency of joy matters. And so to completely shut it down, you know, I really love that we can open up this conversation.
And I want to say to you, I had the opposite effect with 12 Years a Slave. I could not watch it in the theater. I just didn't. I just couldn't. And I got the screener because my housemate is a writer in the Writer Guild, so I got a screener, and I literally could not watch it completely. I had to stop, take a break. I had to do like this. There are moments in that movie. I've been like that since Roots. From the first time when I was a kid watching Roots, I couldn't watch Roots. And I believe there is something within us that still remembers that generational trauma. And it's very interesting where there are moments where because I can watch a horror film.
I know you can.
I can do a horror film. I'm like, okay, whatever. This is dark, whatever. Let me just, whatever. This ain't real. And I just really, I have that other feeling when something is so much about my generation and about the ancestors that came to and that experience, I'm still not wanting to see this full on, yet I'm still willing to heal it. Wow, this has been really rich already.
Yeah.
And we're halfway through the show already.
Yeah. Wow. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about what works to get keyed in and clued in about your own authentic voice. And, you know, when shame gets layered in there, whether it's from our history, from what society brings in, or culture, or family, or whatever, how to identify what's shame and how to help nurture it. And I think reparent it, you know, back into wholeness.
All right, y'all, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Thought Media Network proudly presents the High Vibe Hour. The High Vibe Hour, 60 minutes of connections, insights, and conversations to raise your vibe. Join Rev Julie and Rev Skip each week for an exploration of living a high vibe life. Tune in live every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time or anytime during the week on our YouTube channel. The High Vibe Hour, only on New Thought Media Network.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. And we're having this deep conversation about authenticity, Black History Month. We're celebrating, we are acknowledging all our things that are coming up. I don't think we've had this deep conversation like this. And I'm loving this. I'm loving that we can have this conversation.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, no matter your background, color, religion, race, gender, economic status, I think that there are ways that if you don't get, if we didn't get what we needed initially, you know, that it can create some insecurity or shame or whatever the things are. And so how do we return to wholeness? You know, we're born in wholeness. How do we return to that? And I think, you know, there's a lot of talk about reparenting, like reparenting yourself. And it's not airy-fairy. Our subconscious mind cannot discern the difference between a real event or an imagined event. So if there are things that I needed but did not get when I was growing up, taking the time to reparent myself, and then what does that look like? You know, sometimes it's just saying, I am enough, I'm worthy, I'm loved, I'm lovable. Yeah. But saying it, causing myself to have feeling tone. And then that information goes into my central nervous system, which functions like a brain throughout our body. It's like a full body thinking process that happens when we reparent ourselves consciously. And now I'm starting to develop new neural pathways. If I do it consistently and regularly, now I'm beginning to create new pathways that are reflective of wholeness and worth and value. And I think that, you know, for a lot of us, we have, maybe it's from a culture, it's from our ancestors, it's from what's happened to our people. It can be things that happened growing up in childhood. It can be things that happened in our first, you know, intimate relationships. And so if there are places where there's been a shutdown, taking the time to nurture yourself, like self-love, what does that look like? And that's my invitation, you know, as you're listening right now. What feels like self-love to you? Because it's kind of different, I think, for all of us.
Yeah, you know, part of this work here, and I'm going to wrap it all into this first step that I have here is, you know, tell the truth of who you are. And for me, parenting myself, or actually, I have a couple things I want to say. Self-love is not the love that I'm looking to have traditionally, or whatever we have said in the trendy kind of self-help. Self-love is loving this part. In our spirituality, self-love is loving your divine self.
Oh, wow.
And
hold for a second. Let's do that again. Okay. That was, I want that to land. Do that again.
So we have two ways to look at self-love. Self-love is looking in our trendy self-help. It's become very trendy self-love. What does that mean? Loving my lips, loving my body, loving all that. That's all a part of it. But if we're going into the metaphysics, divine teachings, self is not what we see on the outside. It's what we are inside. So the self-love that we're learning to fall in love with is the God self. And how does the God self show up in us? Compassion, love, oneness, unity, beauty, compassion. Those are the things that we're learning to fall in love with, being connected to spirit. And if we begin in that process first, then we're able to fully love everything else about us. Because it's not about this outer shell. It's about what's in us. So I love the word self-love and authenticity. And here's the first step, I love what we're talking about, is you got to tell the truth of who you are. That means spiritually continue to tell ourselves that we are more than this outer being. Ram Dass calls this drag. We're spiritual beings and the rest is just drag. This is my drag. But there's something deeper in that place that we're called to fall in love with.
Yeah. And you know what that brings up for me is so, because I like to bring it back to like doable tools and practices. What do I do, like literally do, to help me remember my divine nature? And so the invitation there is like, are there images? Are there pictures? Are there symbols? Are there sounds? Are there things that you can put in your environment so that when you see them every day, they're a reflection of who you really are? They remind you. You know, like there are these sculptures that I have of like a beautiful divine feminine form. And when I see that, you know, because it's easy for me to like move around like a truck driver in life because I'm just like getting things done. It's like, oh, the divine feminine. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, the divine feminine is about becoming. It's about birthing. It's about releasing. And which I love about the divine feminine you're talking about is that everyone has, it's actually balanced, the masculine and the feminine within all of us. That masculine is that let's go. We got to get it done. We got to go. I got this. And the feminine is that part of us that nurtures, it heals, it breathes. Most of us guys, I'm speak for the guys, and I know I'm going to say this is probably something not true for all. Let me speak for the guys. Most of us don't want to get in touch with our divine feminine because we've been taught not to. Our parents, my father used to say, don't let them see you cry. My mother used to whoop us back in the day. We got some whoopings, not a beating, a whooping, totally different. And my mother, you bet not cry. I'm teaching you to be strong.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so this is where you spoke of divine feminine. First of all, I go, well, I'm not going to be weak. I'm saying this is the things that we have. We're here to mother ourselves again. I love that word. We mothering ourselves out of this toxic masculinity kind of approach to life.
Yeah. So what does that look like for somebody that's been primarily masculine energy driven? How does somebody take the first steps into getting even in touch with the feminine side?
Yeah, you know, for me, I've always been in touch with my feminine side, even when I wanted to hide it. And it might be because I am openly queer, but it might be because I believe that the beauty of my queerness has always allowed me to be non-binary and to be really understanding, oh, there's a beautiful feminine part of me and really embracing it. And it began with really fully me speaking the freedom, saying, this is who I am. I am feminine. I am masculine at times. And if you're not there to really say that, there are practices where you can begin to deeply meditate or even just really recognize, how can I be less forceful and be more allowing? We teach that in yoga. There's a part to the yoga where we've done all the sun salutations, we're moving, we're holding poses, and we're in that. Then when we drop to the floor, we say, now is your time to become. You got to release the doing. There's nothing for you to do. It's now you becoming. That's divine feminine energy. That's the yin of yoga.
Yeah. And, you know, I think that meditation is an opportunity to step into that kind of allowing alignment, to click into alignment with your life. And that's another way, like we're speaking about authenticity. You know, how can you tell what's authentic for me, what's true for me, what's right for me in this moment? And meditation is a powerful step, a daily, regular step, even if it's 5 minutes, to check in and with the self, like what's, you know, Michael Beckwith often says, incline your ear and hear the word of God, you know, to hear what's wanting to be revealed in my life right now.
What I love about what you're saying to for me, meditation has allowed me to release the shame story.
Uh-huh.
When I really am dropping into a place of just feeling, and sometimes it takes music, Rev. Sometimes it takes a guided meditation with Michael Beckwith on YouTube or whatever. It's whatever gets me to the place of releasing the shame stories or the blame stories, the things that these are the stories that we keep on repeat over and over again. And if meditation can bring me to a place where I can release a story even for 1 second, it shifts your existence. Meditation is actually allowing me to become who I'm really meant to be and to find myself. I never really understood that we're talking about authenticity, and I got it. What it means to really find myself is to find God in me. I'm looking. That's what we're all looking for, is to feel the connection of God within us. So God within me, I'm finding myself. I'm going to go off at 62 or 61 and go find myself. Okay. Well, guess what? Where you go, there you are. And I'm talking about God.
And so it's good to reflect for all of us right now to think of like what works for me. How do I feel self-love? How do I feel it? You mentioned that you bring it back to the divine, what brings in self-love. And so for some of us, meditation works, but like for me, sometimes my mind is so chaotic that I'll play an Om chant, like I need something to occupy my thinking mind. Or sometimes for me, it's a walk in nature or dancing, or there might be movement that helps me kind of, it's sort of kind of, when you do repetitive actions, it creates a light hypnotic state. And so it's like the body gets occupied, the thinking critical faculty of the brain gets occupied, and then we're able to sink in to our subconscious mind and to that innermost aspect of ourselves, like what's wanting to be revealed now, what's the message, what's the truth. So I really am encouraging right now for myself, first and foremost, to make sure I'm taking that time every day to turn within, because the world is so loud, and so depending on your algorithm is what it's loud in. And so I want to take the time to step out of all the algorithms, get out of the algorithmic universe that I'm in.
As we're on YouTube right now.
Right. But center in and say, like what wants to be known as me right now. And this authentic voice is really what's coming up. And if you want, we could do those 4 questions, the Terry Cole Whitaker.
And before we drop in, I just want to say, when I mentioned something you just said, to piggyback off of that, this week has been kind of, it's been healing week. And then I was in the office on, I think it was Sunday afternoon, or in the office, but it might have been Tuesday. I'm not sure what day it was. Anyway, it was so chaotic. I was feeling so much energy in my pain. I put on the chants CD. It's with the chants from Agape with Ricky leading the chants from Agape. I came on.
Yes.
I was listening to the music of the Holy Spirit. I just broke down and wept, because I realized how I was not listening, how I was not calling the invocation of the word Oaea into my own spirit. I had forgotten. It was that instantaneous moment that I caught it, and I just wept. I was humility. I was humbled to remember, this is what I've been missing. Oh my God, thank you. I just wept. I cried I had the ugly cry for a good 10 minutes. I had to stop, just just listen. I played it on repeat over and over again. It transformative.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. There's such a power in music, the frequency of music, to take the time and find the frequencies, the kinds of sounds that really resonate. Because to me, that's like the fast track. That takes me inside deeper than anything else, like shamanic drumming. It will just take me so deep. So, and it's important. I keep coming back to like really doable tools and practices, because sometimes it's easy to get, just so activated by the world that I have to remind myself, like I'll keep a list of like what works, you know, I got to remind myself to get the things that tune me back in. And when you were saying this, it made me think, you know, with Black History Month, I wondered if there is a place for somebody who is African American in this month to like really acknowledge yourself, like give so much love to yourself for how strong, you know, your people are and everything that you've been through as a people. Does that, okay,
Yeah.
I'm a white person. How does that land?
Oh my God, that lands absolutely. This is the reason
when
why
you were saying, that's what I thought. I felt like the preciousness of you, and I thought, you know, it's Black History Month. To feel the preciousness, you know,
is so much to celebrate, and I feel not even an obligation. I'm really looking for the words for this. If I'm not going to speak it from the pulpit on a Wednesday night or a Sunday, and I got a chance to speak it Sunday. I was on pulpit rotation. This Sunday was Practitioner Sunday at our North Hollywood Oneness Center. And I got a chance to say, yes, it's Practitioner Sunday, but we're kicking off Black History Month. And people came up to me, white people came up to me and says, thank you, because I've forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And it just brings, it's easy to forget because there's so much noise.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. The way that I can relate to what I just shared is as a woman, when you know we have Women's History Month coming up. I was recently at a place where there was a young woman that normally works there, young, like early 20s, and she wasn't there. And I found out she'd gone to a bar and somebody put something in her drink and she'd been date raped. But the thing that really struck me is that when that was shared with somebody else that worked at that place, the other young lady that worked there had the same experience. And so as a woman, when I think of us acknowledging women, I feel like such a rising up inside of me to acknowledge how used, how overpowered women have been, how, you know, the way in which in wars and battles, you know, with the attack on Israel, that rape was a part of what was done. So that's like the best way that I can relate is there's just got to be a moment to say, for my gender, for my sex, for my color, for my, you know, wherever I come from, my religion, like I just need to take a moment and like honor and acknowledge all that my lineage has been through. Does that make sense?
It does make it makes so much sense. And you know, one of the things, sending out love to anyone who has gone through any type of violation, like what your person had gone through. And I believe it's so important that we continue to share these cultural experiences so that we may set up a way that we protect all people, like acknowledging women as being the divine source of the feminine. That's precious. How do we do that, especially during Women's History Month or Black History, having the way we uniquely showed up to create things like the traffic light or the security system, or George Washington Carver that created over 300 things from a peanut that was called dormant.
Yes.
And he said, no, I'm talking to God and God's going to share this. And boom, look at what we have, peanuts and sweet potatoes and all the things. If we don't really begin to recognize, we will be forgotten. And there are people who want to erase those achievements of women, of people of color, and us having this time from the heart space, how important it is, especially right now, to recognize this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. 100%. So I'm wondering, like, we've talked about so many rich things, and I think this is going to be a to be continued kind of, because there's so much more. We had so much more we wanted to get to, but it feels good to me to like sink in with all of this. And so to take a moment of everything that's been shared, like, what's your takeaway, you know?
Yeah, my takeaway is to I remember this, and I am sure it was Michael Beckwith who said it. So, but I've said it 10 times, so now it's me. So I'm claiming this as my own. I get to release the story and embrace the glory. And the story that I'm releasing is there's a ceiling over my head because I'm Black and I'm gay. People are not going to like me, or people, when I go into white communities, they're not going to understand me, or releasing the story of I'm not going to be loved because my family's not going to love me because I came out of the closet. These stories still come up sometimes, and I can recognize, oh, I'm going to release that. But still, during Black History Month, I'm still seeing this action of marginalization is still clear, still there. There's still racism and sexism that's happening. And can I see it and not attach to the story? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
I don't want to attach to the story. I don't want to give it power. I want to recognize it. This is happening. But what's the glory? The glory is God is in the mix of everything, not a bypass, but from this place of understanding God is here. How can I show up in compassion, love, and kindness? I must be willing to release the story so I can embrace the glory. And the glory is, what can I do? There's something for me to do, especially during Black History Month, and to speak it, to speak these incredible achievements and acknowledge we still have a long way to go. So that's kind of my takeaway from here today. What is yours?
Gosh, I feel like I have so much. I think first and foremost is to have more courage and more bravery in speaking up. I tend to move in a lot of African-American circles.
Yeah, you do.
And even with that, it's like some people say Black people, some people say African-American. Like as a white person negotiating, Black circles a lot of the time, like sometimes I just don't know. So I find myself being quiet. And I've got to say, I stay quiet for very good reason. I've had a lot of experiences. And so I think what I want to really focus on is what we talked about, to like keep doing the things that help me feel what's real and right for me, like what I know that connects me with my divine source, and then move from there, like speak from there, whether it's about, marches that are happening in Iran or what's happening in Minnesota, or, anything that really moves me, that gets me galvanized and activated, to check in and see what's mine to be in this moment. I think that's important.
It's so important. And sis, I want to say this to everyone who's watching this and watching the video later on. If you are a white person or a person, non-person of color, listen, find your spiritual posse where you can have these conversations and not be judged. Sis, you're always in the same place with me to ask, I don't understand this about this, or this thing about the LGBT, or I don't understand this about Black people. What's right? You got to find the safety zone, your spiritual posse that will allow you to have these conversations, because not everybody's going to allow you to have these conversations. And it's not because of you, it's because of their unhealed trauma that they're still experiencing. Oh, this is the part two. Wait. This is their unhealed trauma. So, but we got to be a place where we can have these deep conversations going, that's how we're going to heal. I call it being spiritually curious about other cultures.
I have to do a shout out to Reverend Jason Davion Mitchell, because he has been my person when I have whatever, how embarrassing or whatever the question is. He is a guy that I can call, that I can show up, and I'm going to be so like, what about this? What about this? So thank you for being another person that I can say, what's up with this?
You have it. Hey, Rev, I can't believe we're red. This was quick. This went by really, really quick.
You say that every week.
I know, right? Where can people find you?
For everybody tuning in, thank you so much for your presence. We're growing together,
Yeah, we are.
We're figuring it all out together.
You're on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
Rev Julie Moret on Instagram. And my book is on Amazon. What's Your What? How to Ignite Your Unique Self. So
And the links to our books are in the program notes for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
How about you?
And yeah, Rev Skip Jennings on Instagram. Skip Jennings, find out more information. We're launching, this is part of the new t-shirt brand. This is the brand called the 50 and Beyond Tribe. If you're 50 and beyond and you are proud of it, you can get your 50 and Beyond Tribe. We're launching the t-shirts probably next week, brand new t-shirts that will be available through my website. So I'm going to do a little commercial. And also, just to let you know, this is very, 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 very important. Our friend Ricky Byers is doing a concert at the North Hollywood Oneness Center for Spiritual Living next Sunday. If you're interested, hit me up on social medias, DM me. I can give you information about how you can get your ticket. Listen, we have 150 tickets already sold. We're looking for 250 people to fill up. And it's $25. It's $25. So if you want more information, how you can check out Ricky Byers and come into the fold and get some good energy and a frequency, uplifting frequency, hit me up on DM and you'll find out more information how to do that. Again.
Wait, I wanted to say something. Your t-shirt goes along with your book that's coming out, right? What's the name of your book?
It sure does. My book is called Transform in 10 Steps for Thriving at 50 and Beyond. Yeah. And the group that we're really focusing on, talk about in the book, we got to find our 50 and Beyond tribe. It doesn't mean that we're only exclusive to that one tribe, but when it comes to transforming your life at the 50 and Beyond stage chapter, things shift. And it's great to have a tribe of people that support your growth. And like I said, my running days are over, but I still have space to walk and do all the other things. And so does my tribe. So it's finding what works for you now. So thanks for bringing that up. It'll be out very, very soon. Very soon.
So good to be with you. And thank you for tuning in. Such a pleasure.
Absolutely. And remember, transformation is a choice. You can choose today. And you did. Namaste. We'll see y'all next week. Peace, y'all.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.